Hi, hello, good morning. I'm doing a quick video because today has been a really, really hard day for me. A lot of people who do know who I am locally. Let me just move away from the kettle. But one of the only appliances that is mine and still in the house. But I've had no one really help me to empty the property or find somewhere I need to live, or I've had a very little support, and the support that has been available has been from charitable organisations or government-run charity bodies. And it has. Today, I couldn't stop crying this morning. The first person I spoke to on the phone, I just completely downloaded on them, and I just was at the point where I was thinking, fuck this, I can't do this anymore. So when people say, how stressful is it to move house? It is one of the most stressful things for people to go through. But as I keep saying, I'm not moving house out of choice. I'm moving due to homelessness and being forced with homelessness. And it's this hidden homelessness that I'm trying to bring to people's mind and attention, especially since last year and through 2026. I didn't do it in 2012 because at the time I was told, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, you haven't got anyone else to blame, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. This time round, it's not my fault. Okay, it's not my fault that the person that I rented the house off died. It's not my fault that the people that he's entrusted to run the company after his death are incompetent. It's not my fault that they are so poorly and inadequately trained or experienced within the rental market sector that they don't know how to treat people or their tenants. I've said it before and I've said it again. I've been here 10 years, okay? 10 years is a long time to be in a rented property, especially in the private housing sector, okay? And if they'd have just come in, done as I asked, fix this, fix that, and then they'd wrote to me and said, look, everything should be in working order now. If you have any problems, don't forget to contact us. By the way, it's coming up to a new year. Please find enclosed a copy of your rent increase. I would have been fine. Okay? For 4 years, I was in housing association property, and every year I would get a letter telling me what my rent increase was going to be and what the service charges were. The fact that they shat on me and they didn't deal with the domestic violence, or the fact that people were drug dealers or, doing God knows what in other apartment rooms, was where I had the problem. I was struggling to pay the rent, but that wasn't, again, my fault. That was due to the Department of Work and Pensions not properly breaking down and formatting my benefits in a way that, as somebody with learning disabilities, could understand. There was also the option where they could have just paid my rent directly to my landlord, with it being a housing association, but instead they put their onus on me. And again, I said to them, look, I've got dyslexia, I've got dyspraxia, I've got dyscalculia, I'm not good with numbers. All I know is my rent is £83 a week. Yeah, I'm not joking. It used to be £83 a week, okay? Big difference to 2026. And if you could just give that money to my landlord, because I'm not earning enough, to not be on housing benefits. But again, because of the way housing benefits worked and how everything was calculated, they fucked up. They fucked up big time, okay, to the point where they ended up paying £2,500 in benefits is what I was awarded. I don't know what happened to that money. I didn't receive it. I was in a property where I had no way of forwarding my address or my contact details to anyone, but without fail, I went into that council house every single day for about 2 years after 2012, right up until my son was born in 2014. Am I allowed to have home support with homelessness? Has the issue with Jefferson Housing, who are now AKA Stonewater, been sorted? And there was no response. Not via email, not via text message, not by a phone call, and I never had anything via correspondence. And It was absolutely heartbreaking. This time round, I have been lucky and fortunate enough to be able to do 3 months of postal redirect service. If I could have done that in 2012, I would have. But this year, at the end of last year, I was very blessed that I had someone who said to me, look, as long as it's your post, you can't live with me, but I'm more than happy for your post to come to my property for 3 months. So hopefully within those 3 months, you'll find somewhere new to live, and then you'll just do another postal redirect to your new address. So because I'm literally having medical letters and correspondence from 2 different hospitals, plus my GP, plus the mental health team coming through the post literally like once a month, if not more, I can't afford to lose that information. I need those letters of correspondence. And they're like, bloody hell, I can't believe how many letters you've had sent. And I'm like, yeah, you imagine how many I lost in 2012. All because no one would allow me to use a redirect service. I tried to get as much help and as guidance as I could about where could I have my post delivered to or sent to. And even Citizen Advice, unfortunately, in 2012, were not supportive. They did not know the answer to that question. So hopefully people now in 2026 are getting that help and support of, if you do not have an address, if you do not have a fixed abode, your letters of correspondence should be able to be sent to, and there should be somewhere that they can be sent. But today I've just been so overwhelmed with how everything's been going on, and I've just spoken to the solicitor who's supporting me with my case, and even they haven't been given correspondence. So I've had somebody on my behalf. I've managed to get free legal aid. There is the opportunity of that out there. So again, go to Shelter, go to Citizens Advice, contact your local council, see what legal aid you may or may not be entitled to claim. And it's really upset me because there's me, my paranoia setting in, my mental health setting in. Why is the council not listening to me? Why aren't they responding to my emails? Why are they not responding to my phone calls? Why are they not helping me? Why are they not doing anything to help me? And then I've had my solicitor say the same thing, that they've emailed, they've phoned, and they've had no response. So it's not just me that is having the issue with this huge communicational breakdown. It's other people as well. So it's just so upsetting. And I know they're saying we're overwhelmed with people claiming for homelessness. I'm not talking about homelessness. All I want is a simple yes or no. Under the guidelines of the government, will my council, and Eaton Bedworth Borough Council, are they saying my current Section 21, is it valid? Is it legal? If you are saying yes, how are you going to support me with a homeless application, given the fact that you fucked up my first one? Okay, and I wouldn't use that word with the council, but that's what happened. And again, it's the waiting and the insecurity and the uncertainty that people struggle with. And that is what has affected my mental health a lot, and my EUPD. Because I have an issue with adjustment disorder as well. I struggle with change. I know life is change. All right. I used to have 4 0-hour contract jobs, and I literally would work each of them every single day, every single week. It was a bloody nightmare. But I did it. The moment one of them ended, that's when the shit hit the fan for me. But it's just so mentally and physically exhausting when the breakdown in communication is still apparent. It is still there. And it's that breakdown in communication that causes a lot of problems, that causes then miscommunication, which then causes like this domino effect that means that you seem to be in this perpetual circle of, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And they're like, email. How many emails do you send to somebody saying, is my Section 21 valid? Is my Section 21 valid? Is my Section 21 valid? I contact you on this day. And they're still not responding. So hidden homelessness is one of those things. I mean, the last time I was made homeless, like no fixed abode, like I said, I was working. I had 4 jobs, and yet I could not afford to keep a roof over my head due to the hours I was working, due to where I was working, and due to how my employers thought they could get away with not paying me, which is why I had to, again, seek legal action due to employment issues, only to find that the council were the ones who'd fucked up in the first place. But I couldn't do anything about it by the time I found that out. It was too much, too little, too late. Whereas this time around, I'm saying, I don't want a repeat of 2012. I don't want to be homeless with children and trying to keep my job and trying to keep a roof over my head and support my family. All I want is a simple yes or no. And like I've said, I've been waiting now since October 2025 for somebody to say yes or no, okay? Like I said, for 13 weeks, it was yes, 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 yes. And then come December, it was no, we're suspending your homeless application. So since October of last year, I had an invalid Section 21. And if I'd have took that at face value of, oh, okay, my landlord wants me out, oh, I'll just go and find somewhere else to live, fuck it, I'm not going to bother. I either would have been homeless or I could have been, if I was lucky, have somewhere else to live. But the fact that it hasn't been done legally means that legally I haven't been Section 21. So therefore, why would I then make myself homeless? Why would I try and find somewhere else to live? I'm not saying I wouldn't, because I have been. I've been trying to do that for the past 9 years. But with the changes in employment law, benefit law, educational law, there's been so many changes in the last 9 years, and the way people are paid, the way people aren't paid, the amount of strain on the economy and pressure for people who now need to be housed, whether it's council, housing association, private rented, or if you're lucky, own your own home, and trying to get a mortgage. It's just so saturated that there just isn't enough support or, or even places to live. I'm not saying affordable, I'm literally saying places to live. Every property I've applied for in the last 9 years, there has probably been over 2,000 applicants. Or the property has been viewed over 2,000 times, because when you go on some of the websites for like housing properties or onthemarket.com or even the actual estate agents, it will clearly show you how many people have viewed that house or that land or that apartment. And when you're looking at it and you're thinking, hang on a minute, over 2,000 people have viewed that property, and then you ring up the estate agent and they're like, sorry, we can't take any more viewings at the moment. We've reached our maximum of 20. There's no way you're going to get that house. So then you go to the next one and the next one and the next one. And this is the problem that people are having. There just isn't enough affordable, accessible properties out there. They keep building all these new houses. But again, it's not about whether or not you can afford them. It's whether or not you would even be able to put in an application in the first place, when everywhere is just so overwhelmed, again, due to hidden homelessness and changes in the economy. And I only think this is going to get worse. Again, the DWP have announced that they're adding more benefits to UC. And it's like, why don't you just admit that universal credit was shit idea and just put everything back to the way it was? The benefit system was never great, but in my opinion, it was a lot better than it is now. But everyone will have their own opinion about that. Sorry, I'm just looking outside whilst I'm talking on the phone online. But I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to know, whether it's, what is the housing situation like in your area where you live? I think people need to talk about this more and not suffer in silence. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's because of all the immigrants and all these people coming in who are refugees and stuff. And I'm thinking, whoa, that's not even the icing on the cake. I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong or whether that's the reason, because in the UK, just like every country, there was always going to be a level of poverty. There's always going to be a level of homelessness. But it's at what point does that then become more than just, oh, okay, yeah, we're expecting this many people to fit in that like tier of society. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, hang on a minute, that tier isn't here anymore of homelessness. It's there. So, like I said, it'd be really, really good to get some feedback. But today it's just been so mentally, physically, and emotionally draining for me. And I've just know that if anyone had come near me, I probably would have just ripped their head off or something. So even that phone call this morning, I just cannot believe how much I broke down on the phone. And so, like I said, if you know someone who is maybe hidden homeless or facing homelessness or moving house, you know, they may want help, they may not want help, but just be vigilant, because it is really, really stressful. And, you know, just saying, hi, how you doing? You know, I know most people will say, yeah, I'm fine, how are you? But still, just be aware that, you know, they may be suffering internally in silence with mental and physical, emotional stress. And just, you know, be vigilant. I mean, a lot of people in the street have gone, oh, you're still here? You're still here? And it's like, well, yeah, of course I'm still here. But it's not like they've acknowledged that I'm still here. It's only because they've seen me that they've said it. I've not had a single person, you know, support me, apart from one, and say, oh, how you doing? You know, you're still here, sweetheart? Or how you doing, my love? You know, do you need any help? You know, do you need somebody to help you take stuff to storage, or help you pack a bag, or pack the kids' toys? I've had none of that. I'm not saying I would have accepted it, but sometimes it's nice to be asked. And like I said, I've not had a single, apart from one person, offer me that kind of support. Most of the time people don't want it. I can't speak for everybody, because it is quite personal. It can be quite invasive to have somebody, you know, go through your personal belongings. But I helped both my next door neighbours pack when they left. They asked me, and they were like, look, I can't do it. I can't cope. Can you just do it for me? And I thought, okay, if I can do it for my neighbours, I should be fine doing it for myself. But I'll tell you what, when you're having to deal with your own shit, it's so much harder. Whereas with my next door neighbours, you know, I could just easily pack it up, take it to the charity shop, take it to the tip, or anything that was they were happy for me to keep, sell, and then send them the money in situ. I did. So, like I said, it has been really, really stressful, and there's going to be a lot of people out there, especially in 2026, when the new rules come in about benefits that people can now apply for through the DWP, and also when Section 21s become illegal, which isn't, I thought it was in January, February, I thought it was in March. It's actually in April, I think, but I'll double check that. And again, I've been trying to talk to the council about it, saying, well, if you're saying this Section 21 isn't valid, will my third one be? Because by the time I get another, Section 21s might not even be legally allowed to be given out in the first place. So please feel free to comment. Like I said, anything abusive or inappropriate to myself or anyone else who comments will be removed. So good luck. And like I said, just be aware, you know, 2026, we are going to have so many changes within the United Kingdom. And I don't know that people are saying, oh, they're only going to affect certain individuals. I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to affect everybody. So just be vigilant. And like I said, if you're one of the hidden homelessness, I mean, a lot of people might say, well, no, I'm not homeless. I'm renting a house. Yeah, but you don't own that house. Okay. And at the moment, there is nothing stopping your landlord from turning up or posting a letter through the letterbox serving you a Section 21. The only thing that would stop him doing that is if, or being legally able to do that, is if it is not legal in the eyes of the law. So, like I said, contact shelter, contact citizens advice, and contact your local council. They should, in theory, know their job out or know how to access the right documentation. But at the moment, with mine, that has not been the case. I'm not saying that happens to everybody, but with me, I'm still in limbo, and it's a really horrible place to be. So enjoy the rest of the day and take care. And hopefully my next video is not about homelessness, or it'll be something a little bit more upbeat. So take care of you. Bye for now.